Agenda. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Hello, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and today is June 5th, 2021. And today we have a packed show for you. My guests are in studio, and we have four different things we'll be talking about today. Today we'll be talking about the crisis in Mali and the fact that the Mali government or Mali is now being excluded from Ecowas. We'll also talk about, a similar crisis or another crisis in actually Ghana itself, which is the tidal waves destroying properties in Ketu South. And this has been an issue that has been with that area since the 1980s and is continuing to be there. Several different governments came and gone, and the issue continues. We would be talking about that as well. Then, of course, we know the president went to Europe, and the understanding is he actually rented or chartered a private jet at a very exorbitant price, which is attracting all kinds of attentions, and we will be going into the details of that as well. So, I would be joined by my guests shortly, but before I bring my guests to the show so we can start the conversations and take a quick commercial break. You can see I'm already sweating. The summer weather here is getting crazy and crazier. But let's welcome our guests to the studio. Share the link if you are watching us, and tell a friend that the Ghana Agenda is on. And today we have a lot to talk about. I will be right back. In the meantime, please share the link.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka Ya Vandam. And me di feel a boys in pan and to see one bridge with the money how Ghana mat ada romantic. With me sending provisions, as I such credit, Emma Ebusia Fona and the form one Ghana. And one is a ubako www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Provisions in credit na really I have friend numbers na screen Ghana Mat ye crown.
All right. Welcome back. I'm still waiting for a few of my guests to join, so let's take a quick commercial break.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
All right, welcome back to the show again. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and today is the 5th of June edition of the Ghana Agenda. And today I'm going to be joined by my regular panelists, but we're making a little change today. We've had Mr. Efa Ameya, who actually represents the MPP, one of the deputy communication chairpersons. I may have gotten that wrong, but once he comes, he's going to actually introduce himself properly, of MPP in the United States here. And he's highly sought after on multiple programs, of course, canvassing the positions of the administration. We're bringing him especially to address some of the issues like the 2021 census that is about to be undertaken. I think it starts from June 27th to July 11th. where all citizens or people living in Ghana will be counted, including properties. My understanding is this time around is going to be digital. He'll be helping us navigate all the stories or issues we table for discussion today. Also, we'll be joined by Paul Disosu, an IT or information technology engineer, and also Secretary of the MDC Massachusetts chapter. He would also be joining us to, of course, argue against everything that you'll be hearing from Mr. Efa today. So, gentlemen, they are already in the studio, and I'm happy to introduce Mr. Efa. You haven't been with us for a very long time, so I guess I'll give you the honor to introduce yourself and tell my listeners and viewers how your summer has already, started, and if there are, interesting things that you're expecting from the MPP USA or any other information that you like to pass on to the viewers. I think I'm getting some feedback from you, though.
It's not coming from me.
Okay, go ahead. Introduce yourself and let's jump into the program.
Thank you very much. I think you want to check your end. There's some feedback coming. So if I speak and it's coming from my end, you should be able to tell about it. The feedback is when you're talking. So yeah, that will be it. Yeah. Thank you very much for the introduction. Yeah, my name is Efamiel. I would love it if you call me Kakape, because that's how I hit.
I hear you, sir.
Politically, so yeah. A Deputy Communication Director, MPP USA. Before we start, I just want to greet your cherished listeners, and I want to say thank you for inviting us to share our thoughts on development in Ghana, and also on all other topics that you will introduce to us today. We come here and we're going to contribute as far as what we think is the way forward for Ghana is concerned. I hope we will come and speak to the issues and speak the truth. And all of us suggest a way going forward if we think the current issues are not, if you think the current measures are not what it takes to take Ghana to the next level. Greetings to MPP USA members. They're all listening to me right now. MPP Chicago. Greetings to all my friends and family everywhere, all over the world. We are here, and when you get a chance, contribute. Let us share their feed. This is one of the great hosts you can have in the diaspora. I've been following him for quite some time now, and it's great. So let us all share and make his program the best in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for that compliment. I really appreciate it. We also have Paul also with us. Paul, can you hear us? I think Paul is going to be on the road in the beginning, but he would be. Paul, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Good afternoon to you guys. And then I am happy to join this program this afternoon. I want to use this opportunity to extend my greetings to my wife, my kids, and my family, and also the entire NDC membership in the USA. To my branch executives and my chairman, I say good afternoon to everybody. Let me borrow from the word from Efa. Truth is what we are going to speak over here. And today, let's speak truth. It does not matter which party you belong to. Let's speak truth. Ghana belongs to all of us, and we are here to speak truth to power. And I hope, and I trust, and I believe by the end of this program, the truth will come out. No missing, no propaganda, no lies this afternoon. Let's speak truth. Let's get to the part of the issue. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that preliminary comment and introduction. So the issues we table for discussion today are one, that there is going to be a census in Ghana for this year, 2021. It was supposed to happen last year. But of course, we know what happened last year. The coronavirus prevented that from happening. And so we would be embarking on census, and the goal is to commence the exercise on the 27th of June and end somewhere around July 11th. This is the first time we'll be introducing technology into this exercise where we'll be using iPad to be deployed with the census personnel across the country, and they will be digitizing the process this time. And I have a video from the president which you'll be watching that introduced or launched the program. This program is going to cost us $521 million. And there's a video making the rounds with a girl saying that, why don't we all get in line and just count ourselves? Why should we spend 521 million cedis to conduct this exercise, especially when we have schools under trees, we have hospitals without beds, etc., etc. You know the issues. So let me start with since you are with the MPP, and of course that is the ruling party. Do you think it makes sense for us to spend 521 million cedis in conducting a census in Ghana at the time when we are confronted with all the problems we have?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity, and greetings to you, Paul. Yeah, the question of whether it makes sense or not is a relative thing, and some people will think it makes sense, others will think it doesn't make sense. But for me, speaking as a concerned person, as a Ghanaian, what is census? What is census about? Now, the Constitution mandates us that every 10 years we have to count, and collect data on the population, on housing, and a whole lot of other stuff that will inform decision making. As far as we know, maybe we have a particular facility serving a group of people. Over time, the population has grown to a certain level. So if it is school, maybe we need to increase the facilities in there. If it's hospital, we need to increase these things. For general decision making, as far as the welfare of the population is concerned, and that is why we've carried these things out. We're supposed to have done it last year, but due to COVID, as we were told, we had to postpone it, and a whole lot of things bumped up last year. So yes, it is important that we do these things, collect these data, let us know exactly what the Ghanaian population is, and all that, so that we can use that to make all our decisions, and so to inform government, and have these data for a lot of other stuff. The amount involved, yeah, we can contend all these kind of stuff, and this is not the first time a state institution is organizing something like this that we've raised eyebrows on it. You remember in the run-up to the elections, there was the need for the compilation of a new voters register, and people raise issues. And years after that, some of the people that had issues have come to praise the system and thank the person who did it. So sometimes we can raise all these issues about that. The issue is not just saying that the amount is high, right? That shouldn't be just saying the amount is high. That in 2010, 10 years ago, we did it for this, that. There are a whole lot of projects that we can go into and question the cost of it over time. Maybe during 2000, we did something. 10 years after that, 2010, we did another thing that costed this and this and this, and we've had all these things and stuff like that. The issue for me, when we begin to question official stuff, and when we begin to compare them to other stuff, it is like, don't do census, use the census money for beds and stuff like that. But when you read the budget, we budget for all these things, right? So let us hold government to provide the beds. Let us hold government to take out the shortages of beds and schools that are in dilapidated conditions. Let us not say that because a school needs books, we shouldn't do this, and that we should use that money to go and no. Let's budget for that, right? Let us go there and see that if there's a budget, use it. Okay? So we can look at other areas that we can. Let us talk about the issues that are raised by the Auditor General, that maybe there are resources that are being spent somewhere. So resources that are going down the drain. So let us make sure we get all these resources and put it into places that we need. But to say that we don't need a census or we should reduce the amount that the professionals have put together for us, I disagree with that. We need it. We need to know what the population is. We shouldn't leave certain things as a country to speculation or just need projection when we can have the actual work with it. So, yeah, we can debate the issues, but for me, it has to be specificity. No, the issues that we are using. We are in an age where a lot of things is, through so many means, digitization and, biometric and all that. And these things don't come cheap, right? So bring the alternatives. If the 500 is too much, what is it that we could take off and for what reason? Sometimes you get the argument that, for instance, if you take, for instance, when they were talking about the electoral register, they were just saying it is too expensive, we don't need it, without necessarily providing any alternative, right? And after it was done, me and you will agree that all the reasons that they gave did not come in, and even if they pop up, there are issues for us to resolve because it's a human institution and we cannot say
you're trying to say that we complain too much in Ghana and sometimes
I'm not saying we complain too much in Ghana. It helps, right? It enables all of us to sit down and see what is it that they're talking about, but it has to be substance. You cannot just say that like for instance that 521 million, right? Go and don't do the population census. Go and use it for schools or go and use it for hospitals. No.
Well, what the girl was saying is the video that was making it around is that the girl was saying that why don't we just all get in line and help ourselves?
Right?
Yeah,
but simplistic way. But those people should know that we need to collect all these data, right? We need to know them, and we need to use that to determine, whatever we provide, the facilities we provide. How many hospitals can we provide in a year, right? Which ones are in short supply? All these things are and stuff like that.
Yeah, we know this is the data that usually guides our developmental agenda, where resources should be allocated, and etc. But let me play the president's luncheon, or when it was lunch, what the president said, and then I'll invite Paul in to also make his comment on this topic. So let's take a look, listen to the president, and we'll be right back.
It will be the first fully digital census to be conducted in Ghana. Use of tablets and internet to capture and transfer the information respectively will guarantee delivery of high quality and faster results to support the decision-making process. Secondly, use of rich geospatial information, including the capture of the geographic positioning system, GPS, coordinates of all structures, will improve resource targeting to areas that need them the most. The census does not seek to divide or polarize the citizenry around matters that are important to us individually and collectively. As President of the Republic, I'm aware of several concerns and sensitivities that some people may have regarding boundary disputes and religious and political polarizations. However, the census will be an independent and professional process whose outcomes will not be influenced by any of these. Indeed, the census process may help to resolve some or all of these issues.
All right, so you have the president talking about how there are some issues of cultural differences that people are saying would be heightened by this census, and that he's assuring us that it will be professionally done. It's interesting that he brought that up, but Paul, there are, rumors and people that I've heard talking about how even places in voter region are being classified in ways that would not augur well once the census is done. Have you heard anything in those lines? And also, while you were answering that, what do you think about the 521 million and, of course, some of the things that Kakape said? Kakape says, we made similar complaints when we were doing the voter registration, but it turned out so well. So why do we always, jump ahead of these things and talk perhaps a little too much about these things when, of course, they are supposed to be the right things? Because we need the census done so that we can know the numbers on which we would base our developmental agenda.
Mr. Amuzu, thank you very much. I think, there are some factual accuracies of a statement that has been made this afternoon by Ifa. One, he tried to create impression on this platform this afternoon that when they were about to do the new voters ID, voters registration, some people were against it, some people were complaining. At the end of it, the people who were complaining also came back praising the same system. That is a lie. Nobody or the people or the 21 CSOs who had a lot of issues with the voters registration that was done last year, none of such civil society has come out to praise what has been done. Rather, what they've done is to come down to condemn the inaccuracies that the electoral commission has put out over there, trying to throw dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana, trying to tell us that they try to save cost, and which the civil society has come out to debunk all those figures they put out there. That's number one. Number two, let's also put on record that the things that they claim, the electoral commission claimed they were going to do, the reason why they were asking for such huge amounts, one of the things, Alfred, if you remember, was that they said they were going to introduce face recognition.
Right.
Alfred, I was in Ghana for the election. There was nothing of such facial recognition. So where did that money go? So for a fact to come and sit here this afternoon to be telling us that that system was introduced and it was very perfect, and people were praising it, it's totally lies.
Right.
I'm saying, and if I can respond to this question, the facial recognition, which the reason why the EC and the NPP wanted to have a new voter registration, was that facial recognition used during the 2020 election? And the obvious answer is no. There was nothing like facial recognition in the 2020 election. I was in Ghana, I was at Ododo, Lejoku, and I was at Teshin. I went around because I was one of the people accredited to monitor the election on behalf of the NDC. There was not any registration center I went to that they used facial recognition to recognize people. So in that instance, the EC has a lot of questions to answer when they go and meet the select committee in parliament. So for a to sit here and tell and create the impression that we complained about the same thing last year and that at the end of it, a perfect system was produced is a lie. Number two, look, nobody is saying that census is not supposed to be done. I agree with the submission he made about reason why we need to do census. We do the census so that we can know the actual number of people and be able to develop the country or put development infrastructure to meet the number of people we have. I agree to that.
Right.
But Alfred, can it be the figure? 2010, when President Mills was the president, when we did this census, can you give me the figure that was used? We are nowhere near 521 million Ghana cedi. Alfred, look, I understand that technology is moving or technology is the type of the day. I agree. But the question here is, we want a breakdown of that 521 million Ghana cedi that they want to use for this census. Once again, I can tell you that this is a chop avenue that this super incompetent government is to create to steal the people's money. Because They will promise all those things that the president said. Alfred, I can bet you, we will come back, myself and you, and if I will come back in maybe 4 or 5 months' time, and we are going to, interrogate the issues, and you see that all the things that the president said, they are going to use iPad, they are going to use none of those things will be used. We are saying, and I am urging the select committee in Parliament to request from the Minister for Finance and the body that will be doing this census, they should bring the breakdowns. We want to see the breakdowns. What is entailed in the 521 million Ghana cedi? Alfred, that is a lot of money. If you convert it to the old prices, it's 5.2 trillion Ghana cedi. That is not a little money. That's a lot of money. So for me, as much as we all agree that we need to do census, it's part of constitutional demand so that we can know, our numbers, we can know the number of people living in the country so that we can plan according to that. I think the money that has been allocated or that has been located is too much. 521 million is just another avenue for this government to loot, share, create, and share among themselves. I bet you, if only we can interrogate issues that has happened. This government is known to be a government that they are always, playing in the wrong direction. Look, there are a lot of funds or a lot of money that people have taken, okay, that they've not made the COVID-19 that happened last year. This government took a lot of money from civil society, from the World Bank, from IMF, and from Bank of Ghana. Look at the report that came out 3 weeks ago, which they all ran away from the program. They refused to be on that program because they couldn't defend their government. Look at the money they spend. And let me give you a practical example. They said they introduced what? They've created a COVID app. Right. The COVID app that was created, the Minister for Communication told the whole country that it cost Ghanaian 0 cedis. At the end of it, just for a report to be generated, for us to know that that project cost the good people of Ghana $2 million. Apart from that, launching of the program cost us almost, is it 240,000 Ghana?
Yeah, something like that.
Therefore, these people, this government, they are a government that if they say look up, you should look down. Because the Minister for Communication made it clear, and we all knew that those apps that were developed was given to Ghanaians for free. At the end of it, what did we see? A report has been generated, and it is the otherwise. That is why Ghanaians are agitated. That is why Ghanaians are worried about this huge figure that they are mentioning that they are going to use for this census. This government will not account for it. There are a lot of accountability that we need to demand from this government. And one of this accountability is the COVID fund that they have misused, misappropriate. We want them to account for it before we start talking about census money. This 521 million Ghana cedi is a lot of money. And for Ghana to develop, I agree that we need to do census. But the money is too much. We want the breakdown. They should tell us how that money will be used, who people are going to, what are they going to purchase, what will be the logistics in the things that they are going to buy. At the end of it, how are we going to make sure that the 521 million all is invested into the project?
Okay, so FA tries to say that when we do this type of criticisms that we don't offer alternatives. But I want you to kind of respond to some of the things you hear quickly from Paul. Because Paul is saying that this seems to be like another avenue for creating and then looting and sharing.
Create, loot, and share, right?
Create, loot, and share, which is a famous phrase that we heard from our brother Isan Kuma. There are 3 comments here that I wanted to quickly read out. Mr. HLA18 says hi, of course he's following us. Thanks for watching the show. Please share the link today. We now I don't know what's happening, but guys, share the link so your friends can join and engage and be part of the show. Also, we have Frederick O2 says, I'm your follower. I'm a member from the pastor whom you invited. The pastor we invited for the Tidal program. Yes. That pastor is the greatest pastor, and I'm actually part of his church from that day on. So thanks for joining the show, and please share the link so your friends can also enjoy the show. One of our regular viewers, Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed. Ibrahim, thanks for watching the show. Please tell a friend again. Agenda is on. Share the link. Ibrahim says, "Is Mr. Efa justifying the cost of flight Mr. President took? If the past government did things, does it mean Nana should also do same or make?" Oh my God, time indeed will tell. So I think we haven't even actually touched on the flight issue yet, but we'll get there. And of course, Mr. Fa, you can answer that part. But Mr. Fa, you've heard some things from Paul. If you don't mind, help us understand. Whether you think whether you agree with Paul, whether you think this is just another avenue for lifting and if the government is capable or is able to give us the breakdowns so that we know exactly what the money will be spent for.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, good. You see, all the complaints and all that Paul is saying is typical of NDC's line of going about things, right?
Yeah.
You see, they've been making all these complaints, right? In fact, if you take the first administration, they blacked this the administration as corrupt, as doing this and as doing that and all that, right? Now, when the minister went for vetting, you guys had every opportunity. You guys painted the picture that we're going to show these people where power lies, right? Fighting here and giving. It is a typical of them that, let us say this, let us go about doing this. But when the ministers appeared before you, you raise the issues, and at the end of the day, you unanimously say, yo man, you've done a good job. Go ahead and continue what you have been doing. So is it not a dichotomy that you always want to bring up issues and you don't do? In any case, NDC has ministers in parliament,
right,
where they can raise all these issues. You raise issues. You see, I brought the EC because that one is what is fresh in our mind. That if you go back in the fourth department, there is a huge line of them where they raise issues. But after the project is completed, then they keep quiet because they know deep down that whatever has been provided is sufficient. It is better. If they were the one in power, they wouldn't have given us as efficient as that. They wouldn't have gone into it as detailed and explained to Ghanaians as we've done. They wouldn't. That is why, despite all that you did in the first time, when you had a second opportunity for you to have really muscle your power, you went there as business as usual, maintain the status quo, ask them the questions, and say, yo, man, you did great in the first year. So, Paul, you can continue and say, but the truth is there. Now, when he's talking about when he went to Ghana, he did not see facial recognition. Paul, this you are in the technology world, and you know how these things function. We put layers down so that when this one does not work, we go here, we put they are layers. They are layers. So if a person has come to a particular place and we verify him, he put his hand on there and everything is working, what would be the need for you to keep going to delay the lines? It doesn't. It doesn't work like that. I was looking at you to say, or waiting for you to say that when I went there, my hands were not working, nothing was not working, and I asked them to facially recognize me, and they couldn't do it. If you have not tried to see, it's not there. You cannot say that because it was not used, it is not there. This is, you can't come here and say this. And after the exercise, what others have you raised again, apart from results, which has nothing to do with the EC voter register? After we done the election, and the fact that it came out that nobody was disenfranchised, that it was effective. And in any case, if I'm asking about somebody that praised it, it is Atubiga. I listened to him here, and he praised the EC. for doing such a yeoman's job, and that it is you with the Binduri internet cafe and all that, you couldn't even collect the result. So you can be here and be criticizing what somebody has done, but your party supporters are asking you that, okay, we understand the problems with the EC. What did you do? Where are yours? And up to now, you've not been able to tell us what you were able to do. So we can talk all we want to talk. At the end of the day, there are people that I call, they are permanent critics. You give them the job, they cannot do it. And there are people that we think that this is what it takes for us to move forward, and this is what we're going to do. Do it and fail. Do it for challenges to come and we fix it, than sitting down and say we're not going to do it. Right? So we can enumerate and list them and list them and list them. But at the end of the day, on the opportunity to, what have NDC not said about the ID cards, for instance? We are not going to do it. It is not this, and they're using it to. But so far, the allegations that they raised, they've not brought the empirical evidence to prove them. So we can criticize and criticize, but I'm looking for alternative. In 421 years, you can ask for the same. Why have you stopped all of a sudden after the elections? The amount of money that we spend for the EC and all that, you abandon it because you know deep down within your heart that yes, and it is even cheaper compared to if you were in power. I'm telling you. So they keep, I'm coming. They keep jumping from one thing to the other, and that is perfectly fine. It is opposition; they are entitled to that. And then they can ask the statistical service to provide the details, and they are going to provide. There is not a single thing that has been done in Ghana that we have not had audits. Your MPs are there; they can go for it. They can go for the papers, and they can share all these things with us. As and when they become available, we all gotta go. But you see, over the years, instead of us focusing on what is it that we need to do, make sure that we capture certain things and stuff like that. We go into capturing of allegations that don't exist. We spend time talking about it, and then we later find out that, oh, this, after all, they've done a good job. After all, they've done a great job. It is a human institution. We are not always going to get it right. We are always going to, but you see, what is important is that as a human being, when the challenges are coming, you accept it, and then you move on. That is more important than just accusing and not providing any other alternative to it. Just saying that it's expensive and it is this and nothing else.
All right, great rebuttal there.
I need to respond. I need a response. Okay, hold on.
Before you respond, I have two comments that I'll just read quickly. Mr. Pascal is a friend and mate of mine from St. Paul Secondary School. Thanks for watching the show, Mr. Pascal. Please share the link and have other friends join as well. Pascal says that, man, I agree with you. They should first account for the COVID money. We are tired of all this borrow, loot, and share. So Pascal wants, the government to account for the COVID money first, and then we go from there. Ibrahim again says, new voter ID, Ghana card, and now population census. Do we need to spend such huge amount of our tax, money, all these type of things? Of course, we know we need a census, but there are so many different data being collected. Why can't we just do all of them in one shot? So, Mr. Paul, you wanted to respond, and then we can
once again. I'm saying and I'm repeating it. This is another avenue for create, loot, and share by this incompetent government. Why am I saying so? I made some categorical statements over here this afternoon, and if I came back just dancing around it, he never addressed the issue. Number one, the select committee in parliament or the minority in parliament has not abandoned the account that the EC is supposed to render to them. There is a time for everything. And when the time comes for them to call the EC to account for the monies that was given to them to use for that super incompetent voter registration, that time will come and we will cross that bridge. So he should not come and sit here and try to lie, to create the impression as if the minority has abandoned that project because they felt they created a lot of noise and they saw that it was successful and they've abandoned it. That is not the case. The case is that there is a time that the parliamentarians or the select committee in parliament will be inviting the EC boss to come and account. And that time, when that time comes, all the truth will come out. Number two, let IFA understand that if we talk about recognition, biometric recognition, in the IT world, fingerprint is the number one as compared to facial recognition.
Right.
That is why when the super incompetent electoral commission came out to tell all of us that they want to come out with a new voter registration because they are going to add a new feature, which is a facial recognition. So, Mr. Musu, why should you waste those millions of dollars to come out with a new system? Because according to you, you want to make sure that people are facially recognized.
Right.
Against fingerprint. And at the end of it, during the election, the facial recognition was not used. There are people whose fingerprint was not recognized by the system. They did not use facial recognition to recognize them because that application was not part of the entire suite that, let's say, the entire biometric suite that they provided. It's not part of it. The facial recognition is just not part of it. So you should stop trying to throw dust into the eyes of your listeners this afternoon to create the impression as if the facial recognition is there, but they want to use a fingerprint to avoid wasting time so that they will not waste time of the people who are voting. That is not the case.
Right.
The case is simple that there was nothing like facial recognition. The only thing they used was the biometric. When they use your bio, you put your hand on the system, it recognizes you. And when you look at, when you read research, when you read, report, when you read, information that have been putting out there, the best way and the best means to recognize a person to avoid fraud is using the person's bio. With the facial recognition, even there are some, disadvantages and advantages of it. But if you compare the two, the fingerprint has a lot of disadvantage over the facial recognition. I am saying on this show this afternoon that NPP created, loot, and share the group post money that they are going to bring a system where it's going to recognize people's faces. Right. And if I was in Ghana, I was in Ghana. He should be truthful to the listeners this afternoon and tell us whether that facial recognition system was even activated, whether any of the police stations used that system. Right. Tell us. Those people whose finger will not be able to recognize did not recognize them with facial recognition. Nothing of that sort was done. So you should not come and sit here and be trying to create impression and be trying to create impression as if some of us, excuse my language, we don't think. Yes, are smarter than this. Right. They should stop the propaganda. You should stop the mischief. Let's speak truth. He stated in his opening statement that truth, and we should speak truth this afternoon. Right. Okay. So yeah. So the understanding is, we are gathering data in so many different ways. The Ghana card is one. We've done the voter registration, which is another exercise, and at the time we're doing the voter registration, we were supposed to have already done the census prior to that. But of course, COVID prevented that. And you would think that while we were doing the voter registration, that would have been, because we decided to do a voter registration in the middle of the pandemic, you would think that that exercise would be combined. But we know that wasn't the case. He didn't speak about the issue I raised about the communication minister, whereby last year they told us that the COVID app was not going to cost us 0 cedis. At the end of it, they spent $2 million. He should talk about those things. Those are the things we want him to talk about. Ghanaians' money, the taxpayers' money. He should talk about it. Because his minister, Osler, told the whole world that it was going to cost us $0 for 0 cedis. The taxpayer is not paying a peso. What did we see? Or what did you hear at the end of it? They spent $2 million. They paid $2 million to a company that was registered 2 months to the formation of the COVID app. These are the corruption. These are the misappropriation of funds by this super incompetent government that we need to talk about. All right. You've heard him, Mr. Fa. Paul had asked some questions and he wants you to respond. What I would do is start the next session, and then when you come in, Paul, Fa, you can answer to those things that Paul raised, and then also present your response to the session that we're about to start. So the second session we want to talk about is the president actually went on a trip to Europe, but before going to that trip, the allegations has been that he went to Uganda, flew on the Falcon, which was a presidential jet that was acquired by
the Kufuor administration, which Kufuor himself didn't use, but Atami was the first person to use it, that aircraft is still in good condition. But the president sidestepped that aircraft and went to rent a brand new ACJ or so, something 330, some brand new aircraft that is the top of the notch as far as private jets are concerned, for which he was paying a lot of money. Almost, he paid about $2.8 million or so on just that trip. Ablakwa, which is who's MP for Southtown, raised this issue in Parliament and is actually inviting the Minister of Defense to come and answer as to whether the plane is capable of doing the trip or not. And we understand that the Falcon can fly 8 hours before it refuels. And, from Ghana to France, about 6 hours. And the president went to Belgium, which is about another 4 hours. And then from Belgium to South Africa was going to be about 11 hours. But the understanding is the president could have cut that South Africa, flight into two, stop somewhere, refuel, and go back into the air and head to South Africa. But that wasn't the case. He actually rented a brand new flight, which cost the country a lot of money. And the question being asked is it necessary? Is this for safety? Or this is just insensitivity? The president is just displaying insensitivity, even though he comes to the people of Ghana and says that times are hard, that we should all tighten our belts. Let's listen to Ablakwa. We'll come back, and if you have a question from Paul that you have to answer, and also contribute to the renting or chartering of the presidential jet. So we will listen to Ablakwa. We'll be back to discuss.
To Paris was 6.5 hours. The minority insists that the Falcon could have been used. Once the Falcon is airworthy, and it took this same president to Uganda only a few days prior to the 16th of May, when the president departed for Paris with this rather luxurious monster, the most outstanding, extravagant Airbus aircraft to be manufactured, the Airbus AJC 320 Neo, which originally was manufactured to take 150 people at the minimum, but it has been reconfigured to take only 17 people. So a luxurious empire can be created. And you have seen the photos which we have made available. The aircraft comes with a master bedroom. It comes with an ensuite bathroom with showers, dining facilities for all 17, and sophisticated IT connectivity installations. We insist that from that same company, the company known as Opulence Aviation, they have other chartered flights. First of all, our contention is that the Falcon is available only 5 days prior to this 16th of May 2021 trip. The president had used it to Uganda. And what you must know about aircraft is that once it's declared airworthy, it's airworthy. So if that same week the aircraft was available and used to Uganda, it's airworthy. If it can take you to Uganda safely, it can take you to France safely. It can take you to Brussels, that is in Belgium, safely. So the point we are emphasizing is that in these times of austerity, where the president himself has said that times are rough, let's bear with him. They came to this house to impose additional taxes because they want to put this economy on a sound footing. They say that COVID has further wreaked havoc on this economy. You all know the conditions that we are in now as a country. You know of the Fix the Country movement. Ghanaians are up in arms that virtually every sector, look at the education sector, no textbooks. We don't have adequate classrooms, adequate dormitories. So double track continues. And you see the congestion, you see the dilapidation, you see the difficult conditions under which our students are learning. You know of the no bed syndrome in the health sector. Doctors are complaining, basic medical equipment, incubators, suction machines, theater beds, they don't have it. The president himself embarked on this trip to
on and on and on and on. I'd like to just keep listening the things, the issues with us, and on the face of which the president actually embarked on this trip and got himself the luxurious of planes to use for the trip. And so people are saying, what is going on? Is the president insensitive, or is it just that, it is unsafe to fly on the Falcon? And even the company, Atropolis, which is where he went and chartered the plane, he could have gotten other modest types and not necessarily the top of the top notch. So what is this, if you could take that for us first?
What Paul said. Now, Paul said the facial recognition was not activated. That I took that from his expression. So you are here and you are saying it was not there. And in another breath, you say it was not activated. If it was not there, why should they activate it? If that something is not there, how are you going to activate that? So
we understand that even the system we acquired for the 2012 election actually have the capability of the facial recognition piece being activated. It just wasn't activated. It wasn't like
so
we had that capability since 2012 actually.
So you see, we can argue on the nitty-gritties and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with that. Was it purchased? It was budgeted. Was it purchased? If it was purchased, why was it not activated? And then we take it up from there. Now, the point I'm trying to raise is that one of the key issues. Okay, so the EC raised that point as what they were going to do. If they did not do it, we go and ask them. But they raise issue about they will be disenfranchised. It is expensive. It is like they jump from one thing to another. They keep jumping. They hop. They talk about this, they leave it, go and talk about another thing. You finish, they keep hopping. And that is not good for development. That's what I want him to know. So you see, you are bringing in something. They budgeted for it. They told that they were going to do it. When I went to Ghana, I was part of the election. I was part of the election monitoring. I did not pay attention to that because it didn't come in during the course of our history. So I'm not in a position to say whether it is there or not there. So I'm not saying it wasn't there. I didn't see it being used. So we can go into that aspect, but you cannot say here and say it is not there when you did not use it, and then you say it was not activated, right? But the point I'm trying to raise is that it looks as if they keep hopping from one thing to another thing. One of the key things was that it wasn't necessary that the main thing of the EC was to disenfranchise people, but I haven't seen a single person after the case. Oh, this person was disenfranchised. But we can talk about it. We shouldn't see. We see nobody is saying we shouldn't hold the EC accountable. It is important, and we need on that answer from them. But you see, when you pick up a fight, focus to the end. But because you know that this fight, you are just using it to play on the emotions and intelligence of Ghanaians. After a while, then they pick the next big story, and then they leave it. We are here. Let the EC come and answer the questions, and then probe into all these things, and we get all those stuff. Other than that, you have abandoned it. 6 months now after the election, you did not even collect results. You are telling me about this thing hasn't abandoned. They have filed a quick for the Minister of Defense to come and answer something that happened weeks ago. Months ago, you haven't talked about it, and you are talking about this thing. You can keep throwing dust. I'm not throwing any dust. I'm not here to defend anything that is indefensible. Right. But of course, we're all going to share an opinion. It may differ. I may like it, I may not like it. Now, quickly on the this thing. Now, this is an institutional provision, right?
Right.
So one of the challenges we've had as a country is institutional failures. What are the mandate of the institutions we've been put in place to do these things for us? We keep coming here, we talk about these institutions not working and stuff like that. Okay, so I am not even particular about the amount that is involved. Of course, nobody has come to verify the amount that has been put out there. So I cannot speak to this 2.8. There's no paperwork. It is just people, maybe they have information somewhere putting it there. But let's even take that it is true, right? Let's make this argument based on the fact that it is true. How did they come by that choice of going here? Me and you, we all know that the president came to America, was it a few months or a few years ago, and then we had a problem with the Falcon. And then there was a committee that was set up where they advised that the Falcon cannot travel certain distance, right? So at the time of the president's travel, what were the decisions that some of these things we may talk and talk, we may not have even answers to that, because this is the aspect that deal with security and defense and stuff like that, right? But it is important that we ask these questions. Now, in the course of all asking these questions, what we need to do is that, you see, let us not say Akufo-Addo, right? Let us say at the presidency, when the presidency is traveling, and say, for instance, the plane that we've provided, the means that we have, existing means cannot. What is the alternative that we've made arrangement for?
Right.
So we shouldn't deal with this activities, this present government and all that, because we can go back and see a situation where there was a charter. I don't want us to score that political point of, oh, let us go back. There was a situation where blah, 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 we got caught up in this place. And no. It means
you are saying that it's a safety, it could be a safety concern.
I am not an expert on that, right? So the question we should ask is that the expert put in place to ensure the safety, the travels, and all that.
But the issue is there are other modest flights or alternatives that
I am coming. That
top of the top. Yeah.
That is easy to say based on what we are saying. You see, it is like somebody, if somebody goes to buy something, you look at it and say, oh, you could have bought something and used the money for blah, blah, blah. I mean, it is an opinion, right, that we all can offer. It is part of it. But you see, that is an opinion that is shared based on public opinion or people looking at it from the outside.
And this is somebody who was going to Europe to beg for debt forgiveness.
No. Yeah, I will come to all that. We will talk into all that. But you see, the issue is that all these things must be informed by the people that have made. I am not particular, in as much as we are talking about this. I always say that if we all agree that this is too high, this is too expensive, the president shouldn't be. What was the next alternative that the president could have used? Who are the ones taking
it high? The president could have taken it.
Excuse me, Paul. If we do not find a model, if we do not find a formula for them to use alternatives, in case that whatever we have is not there, we are always going to come back. What is it that we discussed that somebody will look at? This is create, loot, and share, right? Right? You get what I mean? So what I'm saying is that, okay, so this is what we have. Let us assume this is true, right? I don't have any document to back this, neither does anybody. We are only taking it from what we have in the media. So let us even assume it is true. My question is, if we come to because somebody made this decision for the president to use that thing to go, right? Now, the question we should ask is that instead of us spending this, because I mean we have 3.5 more years to go, right? The president will definitely travel, right? The president will travel longer distances than this thing. So in as much as we are discussing this as being on the higher side, in as much as we are saying that there's the need for us to answer the questions on that side, we must come up with an alternative as to when the president is traveling, is the Falcon working? If the Falcon is working, why is he not using it? If the Falcon is not working, what is the alternative for the president to use? Let us answer that question. And if Okujeto and the MPs are listening to me, they will bring the answers. We may like it, we may not like it, but we should create a formula, right? We should create an alternative.
But you are a president. You are a president who comes to your citizens and say, "Look, we are in hard times. There's COVID. I'm going to increase taxes, etc., etc. Everybody should tighten their belts."
Right.
So if we even where we don't have any guidelines as to alternative ways of traveling, etc., etc.
I'm not saying we don't have it. I'm not saying we don't have it. I don't know what it is.
Okay, we don't know what it is.
Right.
But shouldn't the president exercise some due sensitivity to the plight of to even the same things he comes to parliament and preach that, hey, by the way, we are taking our time. So,
I agree with that line of thinking. I agree with that line of thought that you cannot keep going to the citizens to ask them to sacrifice for more when they don't have it, when they are trying to do it, and then we get this information about all these kind of stuff, right? But here we are. Yeah, here we are. I know this man is a listening president, right?
Right.
He's been in power for all these years. He's been traveling. It hasn't come to power. This thing hasn't come out before, right?
Yeah.
We've not heard any of these things. So for me, you can be excused for once. I'm not saying we should excuse him. I don't even know what punitive measures we can even say. But what I'm saying is that as we vent on this amount of money, if it is true, right? As we try to find answers, if it is true, we must also try to come up with, okay, so what should be the alternative? People can say, oh, there were others. To what extent do we use the others? What goes into making sure that the president travels and comes safely? And these are matters that are handled by experts. So I am neither for or against this. This has come up. It is important. They haven't confirmed this. The minister is going to go there and speak to this. But we should not stand in the moment of the problem. Because we talk about this, we leave it only for whether it is this president or another one to pop up and even go more higher than this one. And when that comes, we are going to come here and talk again. So people have a right to vent. It is our money, and if we feel that it is not being used in a way that is being used, we have a listen to just vent. But don't vent and leave the case there. Vent and provide alternatives so that next time it doesn't happen.
All right, thank you so much. Ibrahim says, Mr. Paul, many Ghanaians assume NDC and MPP are brothers. The two of you are only good at confusing innocent Ghanaians. Don't you think it is true, Mr. Paul? So that's a question from Ibrahim Mohammed to you, Paul. But Paul, react to what you've heard so far. But also, is this a sign of insensitivity? Because we've seen where when it comes time for the government to spend on, for instance, even the bank that we are about to put together, we felt like there are already existing ones that you could have reconfigured and not necessarily spend exorbitant amounts of money trying to put together a whole brand new development bank. We've also seen, especially this first topic that we just dealt with, where we are about to be spending some $521 million to conduct an exercise that could have been conducted concurrently with other data collections that we've done over the years. I know that we do this census every 10 years, but in 2020, which is the year we should have done the census, we also did voter registration. And in that process, we could have done the census concurrently. The census is now just going to take about even less than a month, actually. Starting 27th, will be done by 11th. Why do we always find ourselves here?
Mr. Mudu, the president is only not insensitive. He is wicked. He's stayed in touch of the people. He's just have made up his mind that he's going to spend the taxpayers' money left, right, center, forward without even giving regard to the very statement he made. Let me say something over here. I knew from day one that this president is a failed president because day one that he was inaugurated into power, he plagiarized somebody's speech. And right from that day, I knew this president is a failure right from that day, on the 7th January 2017. In the statement that he plagiarized the one of the former president of the United States speech, in that same speech, the president told us that he is coming to protect what? The public purse.
The public purse, yes.
Today, we have people trying to defend the indefensible, trying to throw dust and muddy the waters. Let's set the record straight. If I was trying to create the president, this is the first time it's happening. It is not true. This is the first time that the president has hired a luxurious jet and having fun, which has not brought nothing to Ghana. Mr. Amuzu, do you remember when Tottenham played a match in Europe? This super incompetent president rented a jet, went and watched that match at the expense of the taxpayers' money. He made a lot of noise about it.
Right.
This president is sensitive to the plight and pain of Ghanaians. I will not expect him to do this thing.
Right.
Renting a plane for 15,000 euro an hour. That is wickedness.
Right.
It's evil, to say the least. Mr. Muzu, do you know what happened? The plane was rented for 10 solid days. 10 solid days that the plane was rented.
Right.
So Okujeto Ablakwa was even being a little bit soft on the issue. The calculation he did was just on air time at the time that the plane was in the air. But if we factor at the time that the plane was sitting at the tarmac and all those things, this 2.8 million Ghana cedis will be over. Will be more than that. It's going to be more than that. Number two, if I was trying to create an impression as if the Falcon was not wealthy, cannot travel a certain distance, and that the president came to the United States and something happened and they advised him that that plane cannot travel out distance, he should tell us who gave that advice. It's a lie.
Right.
Look, in the aviation sector, a plane is either worthy to fly or it cannot fly. You have to what? Park it on the tarmac. As we speak, this Falcon plane went with the president to one of the African countries just a week or 2 weeks ago before he took this journey. And it's on record that the Falcon can fly 8 hours in the air non-stop. So for a fact to come and create an impression as if the Falcon cannot travel certain distance, let's clear the air. The Falcon is worthy. The plane, there's nothing wrong with the plane. If a plane has an issue, the aviation sector is designed in such a way that the plane will not even be allowed to take off from ground.
Right.
There is nothing wrong with the Falcon. The president is a man of showboy. They call him Nana Showboy. And he's really telling us that he's Nana Showboy. How can a president that you have just gone to your people to tell them, to preach to them that things are hard, that you tighten their belt, you will hire a plane for 15,000 euro an hour and you'll be flying around in the air. At the end of it, what benefit did we get from that trip he went to?
Right.
At the end of it, he went and borrowed 170 million euro to build a new bank. Whilst he spent 21 billion Ghana cedi in collapsing banks in his country, which he could have used 11 billion to revive those banks.
Right.
This should tell you how super incompetent and how wicked, I don't even know the words to use, this president is.
Right.
So it's like to be coming to sit here to tell us that it's the first time. This is not the first time. I'm telling Ifa, this is not the first time that the president has hired a private jet and has used the taxpayers' money. When he flew to Tottenham to go and watch that match, he flew in the private jet and we made a lot of noise about it.
But Paul, Dr. Edward Ofori here is telling you that Akufo-Addo is not necessarily wicked. The NDC did the same. What do you say to that?
The NDC never did the same. The former president never flew in a private jet. He should bring the record. My good friend Edward Ofori should put the record down here for us. Look, Mr. Amuzu, there was one instance whereby the former president was in the US. And that he has to fly via commercial plane. He did not sit in first class. He did not sit in second class. He sat economy because the time that he was supposed to return, something happened that he has to return earlier. So when he got to the airport, they couldn't get him a first class. He sat in economy. That is a president who you can refer to as a modest president. I want Edward Ofori to put that information there. The president, the former president, has never flew in a private jet. We should stop muddying the waters. The truth is
you are saying he's never flew in a private jet or never ever in his presidency.
Yes, he should put that record out. He should put that. Edward Ofori should put that record out.
So we had the Falcon the whole time that John Dramani Mahama was president, but he never flew in it.
He flew with the Falcon most of the time, and at times he flew with commercial airlines, first class.
Right.
First class, yes, he does. But to hire a private jet that is made up of 150 seats, the seat has been removed, and a bathroom created in it, a bedroom created in it. I'm not surprised because this president is always sleeping. So he wanted a plane that he can lie in and sleep in once he's in air. Just to the comfort and to the pain of the taxpayers' money. Now, he is saying, or he is telling us that Ghanaians should tighten their belt. He has introduced 5 different taxes just within this COVID time. Ghanaians are complaining and suffering. Is that the best way to use the resource of the people's money? We should call a spade, and let's condemn it, irrespective of which party we belong to. When Obama do this thing, I will be the first person to condemn it, because you can't come out and tell us that things are hard, tighten your bed, then you'll be hiring a 15,000 euro an hour airplane, riding in the air, taking a shower in the air, sleeping in the air, and just having fun at your comfort. I mean, what sort of country are we living in? We should stop this and let's think about our brothers and sisters. That 2.8 million Ghana cedi can be used to purchase beds and put in those hospitals where there are no beds. When a first brother or sister is taken to the hospital, he's sitting on chair or lying on a bench when they give him drip. That money can be used to purchase beds into those hospitals. I am not saying the president should not fly. The president should be moderate. There are commercial flights that you can take. If he doesn't want to use the Falcon, there are commercial flights that he can take. And let's also put it on record that this plane was purchased by President Kufuor. The NPP government purchased this plane. It's on the NDC. And I'm saying also that if a plane is not worthy to fly, it will not be allowed to fly per the aviation rules. So if I should not come and create or throw that into our eyes that as if this plane can travel to a certain distance and I cannot go. Once a plane is worthy to fly, it can go anywhere. The president can decide to continue and make a stopover and refill and go back into the air. That is the situation. And as a sensitive president, that was what you're supposed to do, to save the taxpayers' money. And not that. And you notice that I've posed a lot of questions to my good friend. If I is dodging the questions and he's playing mischief, I am saying that the COVID relief money, the document that has been put out there, all the money from IMF, World Bank, Bank of Ghana, and organizations in Ghana sums up to 12.4 billion Ghana cedi. According to the 2021 budget, page 273, appendix 12A, page 103 of the budget, it states that all the money that has been used so far is 1.24 billion. We want a FA to account for the remaining 11 billion. What did they use the money for? That is why we're going to discuss this COVID relief money misappropriation. FA ran away. He never came. None of them came because they couldn't justify it. I want him to address those issues and stop throwing dust into our ears and eyes this afternoon. The fact is worthy. The president uses it to travel to other places. Why couldn't he use it? Look at the sort of plane. This plane is meant for king and princesses. People who have money, but they don't know what to use the money for. They take this place. Not Ghana, a developing country, a poor country like ours, a president renting this plane, having fun in the air, sleeping in the air, taking shower in the air, eating in the air, having drinks with his friends and his ministers in air, and he thinks he's helping Ghana. He is not helping Ghana. Ghana needs better. Ghana can do better. If we can do better, let all of us condemn this thing. The president can do better. The president can fly with a commercial flight, going with business class. Nobody has issues about it. And even there are other lesser planes that he can rent, but he chose to go to the very X-class model. And this is what we have. And this is what your president, this is what your president is doing. And if I come and sit here and tell us that we'll come and make a lot of noise, we jump left, right, jump, and we are hopping all over. We are not hopping all over. We are telling the truth. The truth is that your government is insensitive. They are wicked, insensitive to the plight of the common people. Now, they've increased lorry fares by 13%. The common taxpayer and the Ghanaians are going to pay that fare. And he and Ifa and his president and his people in government will be sitting in V8 riding around free because they don't buy gas. And they will tell us it's okay, everything is okay. They are president's government.
Right.
This government will go on record to be the most useless and most inefficient government ever in the Fourth Republic.
All right. So let me take a few comments, and then I'm sure if I has a lot to say or respond to. Sister Mousy Empress says, sup bro, and then she also came back again to say, great show, thank you for watching our show, Sister Mousy. And please share the link and tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda is on. We appreciate you joining us today. Also, Dr. Ofori, who is the director of ACO TV, my boss, technically. So anytime he's watching, I have to behave myself. So Dr. Ofori is saying that if Ghana was a company, it would definitely have to fire a lot of its leaders. Maybe we can lower the party over people. We need basic infrastructure, and you know, instead of doing so, of course, our leaders are spending the money flying. You could just see the video of the Falcon. You know,
Mr. Mozo, I've challenged your boss to provide the evidence that John Mahama flew in a private rented jet. I've challenged him. You should put the evidence out, please. Right. And so, Dr. Ofori, you heard that. You have been challenged to put out evidence if Mahama actually did this, so that we can compare. Also, Ete Log, E-T-E-Y, which is Ete Log, says, good job, bro. Thanks for watching, Ete, and we appreciate you. Please share the link and have your friends watch as well. Dr. Furry came again and said, Akufuado is showboy, LOL. Yeah, so he's laughing with you there, Mr. Paul. All right, so we have Nana Yao, Asari Amposa says, NDC and noise. You believe the NDC at your own peril. Credibility, they have not. You think the president is this stupid to stop using the plane? This was the same president that have been using this plane before it developed issues. Why does the NDC think they are more sensible than the technical people who advise the president to put the Falcon in good shape before it is flown again? Should the president fly it in a coffin? But I guess the issue here is no president don't fly in a coffin, but be modest, right? You know, fly business. If you can fly business, get something not necessarily this top-notch plane that we are seeing.
Alfred, the president flew in the Falcon 2 weeks ago to Gabon for a meeting.
Right.
So if he's able to fly in that plane, how come he cannot fly in it to France, to Europe?
Right.
We should stop this. Let's speak truth to power. We should stop this. The plane, I am saying, in the aviation sector, which we all know, you can go and Google, you can go and do a research. In the aviation sector, if an airplane is not worthy to fly, they will not even allow it to go into the air, because single life is precious. A single life is, they will not allow anybody to lose his or her life because of a plane not being able to fly. The question is, the Falcon is good, is in good shape, is able to fly. The president flew in it to Gabon 2 weeks ago before he went and rent this expensive aircraft, sat in it, drank wine, slept, took a shower in the air. That's what he did.
Who knows what else he did in the air? All right. Ibrahim Mohammed says, I'm saying NDC and NPP are playing with the intelligence of Ghanaians. Can Mr. Paul accept that? So, Paul, do you accept that you both are playing with the intelligence of Ghanaians?
I'm not playing with the intelligence of Ghanaians. We never play with the intelligence of Ghanaians. We say the truth. The truth hurts. The people cannot say that, cannot accept the truth. Look, in the NDC era, there was a lot of things that they did that was wrong. People criticized it. We were open-minded. We took those criticism. Those that want to respond, we responded to it. But under this administration, anytime you criticize, they'll come after you. And I'll not be surprised if I'll be coming after me to attack my person. But I'm going to give the truth. And I'll do it exactly. If and his communicators have been rented to be going after people when they say the truth.
Oh no, don't say it. If I definitely.
And the truth is that this president is wicked, super incompetent, insensitive, and he has stayed in touch of the people, the common people, the people he promised on the day he plagiarized the speech of the former President Bush that he's going to, be a citizen, don't be a spectator. He's going to protect the public purse. What are we seeing today? He's doing the otherwise.
All right, let me finish the comments quickly and we can go to Afar to respond. We have two more issues we want to address. So Dr. Fori is saying, remember, NDC did not start with Mahama. In other words, there may be other NDC leaders who perhaps they have flown or spent money.
I'm still challenging you to put the name out.
And then he said, Paul, you are so fixated on Mahama. So, of course, talk about other NDC leaders as well. Then he says, Ibrahim Mohammed says, Sikanu Ashe. This is Kanashe.
I agree with you. Sikanu Ashe, or what is Sikanu Ashe? And if I is part of it, if I be supporting it.
Okay, and then he says, Ete Long again came back to say, those of you who are benefiting from the president will always jump to his defense, even if the Falcon is not working. There are cheaper planes around. Let us be a little sensitive to the needs of our people. So that it's sentiments we are sharing on this program. We think, of course, just look at this plane, my people. Look at this plane. It is amazing. You can't go ask for loans to be forgiven when you are traveling like this. This is
if me and the first sit in this plane, I will never come down. I will never get out of this plane. This plane.
All right. So Royal Black Jesus, another boss of mine, the CEO of Trend Africa, which we are live on today. He says, after you do all, big up yourself, political guru. I have a show with him tomorrow, which is going to be Macan. We are talking about Achimota School and the issue with, the Rastafarian boy who took them to court and actually won the case. So if you are available tomorrow, join us at 2 p.m. On Trend Africa. And it'll be myself, Black Jesus, and Cutie Queen, and my brother Barry. All right.
Mr. Amuzu, if you see, look at the plane. Look at the gold-plated design on the plane. Look at it. Nanado has taste. He has taste. Yes,
from sure. All right. Do you have any quick comments you want to make before we jump to the next topic?
Oh, not quick. There's a lot of comments I want to make. Thank you very much. And again,
if you can keep them in about 3-4 minutes, because I want us to switch and we have two more things to talk about.
Yeah, it will be brief. Now, COVID funds and all these things are matters of public records, and at the right time when Auditor General report and all these things come out, we can make it. And again, we can make all these wild allegations and stuff like that. But we have all these platforms available. You have all these members of parliament. We can go there, we can get the documents and comment on it. Now, I didn't know that Paul is also an expert in aviation, giving us all this information and stuff like that. But that is good. Thank you very much. Now, you see, here is Paul. When the Falcon is there, he said, Mahama flew commercial airlines, and then he flew those commercial airlines. I don't know whether Paul was the one that had the commercial airline, and who gave him that information that this airline that Mahama was flying at this point in time is this, how much was involved and all that kind of stuff. You see, for the purposes of discussion and here, you are going to use maybe commercial when it is private. You are not going to tell us. Right? If the Falcon has been there, is there, there's nothing wrong with it. Why was Mahama flying commercial and being in first class? Why couldn't the Falcon take him wherever he was going?
That means even then the Falcon had a problem, right? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. He's not telling us. I don't know, right? So my point is this. I am neither defending this or in support of it. Somebody sat down and came to the conclusion that the president is traveling, should use this plane. This is how much it's going to cost, right? And we're having a discussion on here. You are giving us all this information. I also have information that is telling me that a member of the NDC was using a particular blah, 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 but I don't want to bring it in here. We are just scoring political points and we are not addressing the issue. And Paul, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that, right? The member of parliament has called for public records, for it to be kept, for us to know the truth. If the truth has not coming out, all these things here, you are just trying to score cheap political points. Now, and on that score, let me take you politically. NDC built an office, $200 million. At that time, had you finished with providing Ghanaians with everything at that time? When MPP was using infrastructure as the basis of governance and development, Mahama said anybody that uses it as a written has weak mind. When did you start believing in infrastructure? Huh? Your office, NDC office, you built it for $200 million. You want that to score political points? We are not solving no problem. That is why somebody is saying that we are just playing on the intelligence of Ghanaians and we go. Okay.
So you have a 200 million office, but I've been doing internet cafe for your coalition. It doesn't make sense.
So Paul, you see, let's get to the basis of development, and if we don't address it, right? If we don't address it, we're always going to come here, try to score cheap political points under the circumstances. I want us to deal with issues at the red. Now, the issue we are dealing with right now is that allegedly the president has traveled in a plane that is costing us this amount of money. You talk about the president have flew in a private jet before. Mahama has done this, that, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So what is the formula and how do they choose which one they're going to fly in case this one cannot work? And that is what we should address. We should address. But we are trying to play political points with this amount of money. It has not been verified. When it's verified, we can come here, we can talk about it. Sometimes they bring some of these issues, and then we also try to go and dig deep and see when they have also used something. And then, okay, so in the future, what do? We don't solve the problem. We leave it out there. The same with education. The same with this. Mahama did this. We're playing politics with development instead of the people of Ghana need. What is the shortfall of educational infrastructure? How many have we provided? How long will it take us to provide them? Now, the president should have done this because there are schools under trees. The president should have done this because there are do this and that. When you were building 200 million office space and could not even create a collection center over there. What you are talking about, where they are not existing, why didn't you use that money when you care about Ghanaians so much to do that? What is wrong? And in the course of us debating the way forward, we must call our leaders. We must ask them, Minister of Defense and people put in place for the security of the president. What went into this? And what are the suggestions that we can make for the future? But this is gone. If the amount of that is true, right?
All right.
So what is wrong with the fat one? Do we have to dispose of the fat one and get another one? If it is in good condition, use it. If the president has to use another plane, how? What is the means? If you don't do that, and you sit here and you use words like super incompetent, you use words like wicked, insensitive, failed, we are only going to be here. Tomorrow, it's not going to be Nana Akufo-Addo. Maybe it's going to be Baumia or Alan. And then we'll come here and we're going to discuss the use of the private jet. In 2025, when Mahama, when Alan or whoever MPP will win that election, we're going to come here 2026 and we're going to talk about the use of private jets. That is not how you develop. That is not how you go forward. That is not how you do it. You have a formula. It becomes official. The amount of money, it is not the issue. What is allowed? What is allowed? Then we can move on. Anything short of that, we're playing politics. And we can play politics all day. I can cite a lot of things to justify anything. But is that really solving the problem we're discussing right now? No. So I am going to wait for Okujeto Abrokwa's question to be answered, for the amount to be confirmed, and for me to see Parliament put in place something that would restrict going a certain point and making sure that we can still take care of the security of our president without going certain things. We can say they are alternative, but we don't want to go into an alternative, then boom, then say, oh, hey, well, why did you listen to blah, 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 blah. So, let's go to the really what the president is going to travel again. Next time when he's traveling, what is going to happen? If we don't answer these questions, we are only going to come here and it is another money more than this. We were here when Wyoming money was about 34 million, right? Wyoming judgment debt was about 54 million cities, right? Now we're talking about people haven't spent money in the banking sector. How much are we talking about? 21 billion is what we use. And in any case, Paul, you see, the banking sector cleanup was not done to close any bank. Okay? They recapitalize anything. They recapitalize what the banks were required. If you could not do it, then they reduce them, and those that the others were consolidated. So don't come here and say that they collapsed banks and stuff like that. And in any case, the depositors of over 4 million people were saved. What I am pissed about is the people that caused the problem, and they are walking on the streets of Accra and enjoying those loots. That is what I'm pissed about. And I'm calling on that is where my government has failed. Prosecute them, go for the money, and put the people that are supposed to be in jail, put them in jail. Right. 21 billion and people are working and not being accounted for. That is what I am pissed about my government for. But the cleanup was good, it helped, and it has boosted our financial capability to handle certain things. And you talk about setting up a development bank. Oh, come on now. Come on. Think we don't need a development bank.
We already have some, and then, what's the point?
We have it. We have Exim, we have NIB, we have all these other. That doesn't mean we can't create more. Now, if it is a case of they are not resourced, if they are not resourced,
$250 million to create a new one. Come on. We want to spend $250 million just to create a new one when there are women pregnant and dying on the floor. And babies are being, they are not cool.
I'm always telling you, Amuzu, that when we are dealing with banking sector, when we are dealing with a particular issue, we should stop saying that, don't deal with this, go and use the money for this one. And we should stop saying that.
Our money is not unlimited. We have limited money. Our fund sources are limited. We cannot
repeat what my president said. Okay. Right. Ghana is not poor. Right? Okay. It is institutions and leaders that have given us challenges as far as providing all these means are concerned. Let us hold the education ministry accountable when it comes to provision of schools. Let us hold the health ministry accountable for when it comes to the provision of hospitals. Okay. Let us hold the finance ministry accountable for paying of roads for them to be constructed and all that. Let us not say that.
You cannot say that and then say that. You cannot say let's hold the minister responsible but not hold the president responsible. The president is the boss of the minister. By the way, let's take a quick break.
Mr. Muzu, before you take a break, because we have to get a break.
Let's take a big break so that we can be done by
the 28th annual Siana Convention is upon us again, but due to COVID-19 restrictions, this year's celebration will be held virtually again. So, save the date, September 3rd to September 5th, 2021. The days are fun-packed with the Cultural Friday night featuring the Ejojinam Fafali Bobobo Dance Group, followed by the Nutifafa Dance Ensemble and many others. On Saturday, September 4th, Theresa Kumaza will be leading us through an hour of Keep Fit from 9 to 10 a.m. Some featuring artists are Obibini Black Dean, Latino,
oh yeah, make no leave me, oh yeah, back they force me,
Nyamidie, Sayram music.
Hey, but don't go down away. My room, I'm away.
Togbi Olokojoko.
Mahuma dans l'on, elle ou fou pom, fusi one, bana hafiduna nua, enyaba.
Afo Gasson. But to crown that Saturday night is the legendary Agboti Yao. On Sunday, September 5th, a non-denominational church service will start our day, followed by a virtual picnic featuring our various traditional African cuisines. We will end the convention that Sunday night with Toli Night with Afo Kofi. There will be updates on Siana projects and scholarships granted throughout the convention period. Your Siana convention hosts are the Extraordinary, Steve Day, Empress Mawusi and the Hododio team, Alfred Amuzu, Rachel Dabla, and Afoche Agbamabiase. Special guest of honor is Togbi Agbalon, Chief of Salo in the Volta region, who is also Nana Ofe Asameni the First, the Nkoswahini of Ekwamu traditional area. You have seen virtual festivals and concerts, but never seen a convention like this before. Streaming live on the Siana official Facebook and YouTube pages. Please tune in and donate to support the ongoing project. Siana, move forward with the socio-economic development of the land.
Junta leader Colonel Assimi Goita swapped his military uniform for a suit for his meeting with West African leaders. They're alarmed by last week's coup, and after hours of closed-door talks, suspended Mali from the regional body Ecowas.
The recent happenings in Mali have again raised anxiety levels in the region and have somewhat shaken the hope many had of a peaceful, successful transition, which will result in the return to a democratic government in Mali and ultimately and hopefully the political stability of the country.
The heads of state called for the immediate release of the former president and prime minister who are being kept under house arrest. They also want the nomination of a new civilian prime minister and an inclusive government. The suspension is due to last until February 2022.
All right, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. Again, today we are talking about 4 different topics we've already discussed. How the president travels and whether it is because of safety or is just being insensitive to the plight of the Ghanaian, and the amounts that they put into hiring or chartering all these private jets, and whether the president according to what his own party member is saying, should put together some type of, guidelines as to alternatives. Should the president be faced with safety issues and not able to travel with the country's national flight or the country's jet for the president, the Falcon? We've also discussed the very first issue that we actually took on, and I'm blanking on it right now, even though the show is good. But anyway, if you're just joining the show, again, this is the Ghana Agenda. We are always on every Saturday from 2 p.m. And what I want us to do now is to look at Mali. We know since 2012 that there has been some terrorists or Islamic extremist groups active in Mali, and not only in Mali, but the entire Sahel area. In other words, there's Mali, Sudan, and a couple of other countries in the Sahel. And these groups have been destabilizing. If you go to Mali, in fact, the northern part of Mali is not even under the control of the government. The French have been actively assisting with fighting these Islamic groups. We have the JNIM, and we also have the ISGS, which are affiliated with Al-Qaeda. These groups actually started fighting each other as a result of internal conflicts they have between the Fulani tribe and other tribes within the northern sector of Mali. But that fight has, grown, and there are international terrorist organizations that are sponsoring them now. We know that they usually take over small-scale mining activities and mine golds to fund this fight and be able to acquire weapons and etc. etc. The government of Mali has been under so much pressure trying to deal with these terrorist groups, and as a result, it even weakened the government itself to the extent that in the last 9 months, we witnessed 2 coups d'etats in Mali. The first one was done by Goïta, who's the gentleman you see with a lot of swag working on the tarmac. He is the military person who actually orchestrated the first coup 9 months ago, and he was made the vice president. Then a week ago, he orchestrated another coup for his own president and now made himself the president. If COVID-19 has taught us anything, is that Zoom is very effective now. We really don't need all these West African presidents to go gather in Accra just to deliberate on this thing. But here again, they all flew, whether with the AC J320 Neo, paying a lot to charter those flights to Accra. And again, here's where you see the extreme insensitivity of all this old men leading Africa, spending money without thinking, and they all gathered in Accra. And one of the things they decided in Accra is that they are going, as Ecowas, that they are going to ban Mali or suspend Mali from Ecowas. And here's my concern with that. You know that there are terrorists in the area, destabilizing the government. And you know that the military is fighting hard to bring the entire country under control, and they are not, and the French have to step in. The French are threatening to withdraw their 5,000 troops that they've committed as part of an operation they call Bakani. Shouldn't Ecowas be brazen whoever lead, even if it is coup? This same person that has just conducted this coup, when he conducted the first one, you accepted it, you gave him 18 months to transition. He was the vice president. He conducted another coup again to overthrow the guy who was, the number one, the civilian person, we helped put in charge of the country. He overthrew that person again and made himself the president. Shouldn't we be helping him to contain this Islamic group? Because if we don't do that, the littoral countries like Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, so far, the fight in Mali, the terrorist activity in Mali has been spilling into even Burkina Faso, sometimes even into Ivory Coast. And the hope is that we are able to contain the Islamic group so that it doesn't spill into the littoral countries like Togo, Benin, Ghana, etc., etc. Shouldn't we be doing that? But instead, under the supervision of our president, who is the ECOWAS chairperson, we are telling them that, by the way, you are suspended. So if Mali is suspended and we are not giving any help to Mali, the Malians are starving. Do you think this is going to affect the Malian president, the person, or Goïta, the guy who conducted the coup d'etat? Do you think he would care that you suspend him from ECOWAS? Instead of us bracing him, pulling him closer, helping him to transition power, giving him the logistics to fight the terrorists, we have suspended him. So he's in a bubble now, cut off from everybody else, and he has the right to abuse his citizens, and we wouldn't be able to do anything. Is that a right thing to do? And so let me put it to you, Paul, first. Our president chaired this meeting, invited all these 80-year, 90-year-old presidents to Accra. A meeting I think could have been done on Zoom. They came to Accra just to tell Mali that, by the way, you are no longer part of ECOWAS, release the president. Of course, the releasing of the former president, or the guy, the president in charge of the transition government is of course good. But the fact that you are suspending him from ECOWAS, I disagree. What do you think, sir? Paul.
Well, Mr. Amuzu, thank you very much. But I mean, I will not, or I don't think you are being fair to me this afternoon for allowing my good friend Ifa to make his submission. I came back to make my submission.
Right.
You gave Ifa another 10 minutes to rebut her, whilst you not even give me 2 minutes to rebut her. But I think I want to point some two threat issues out from the previous topic that my friend Ifa just spoke about. I don't know if my friend Ifa is an accountant, but I think if he's an accountant, he's going to be a good accountant. He just made a statement this afternoon saying that the NDC used $200 million to build their head office. The record out there, which is not even true, is that which is a propaganda that if Mr. Ifa and his party played in 2010, 2011, is that NDC used $20 million. That is the money they've put out there, and that is the, if you Google right now, is there. That's the
it's 20 million. I heard 20 million as well.
Yeah, and now my good friend Mr. Ifa has added another zero to make it 200 million. That's how
it may just be a slip of tongue.
No, it's not 200. Sorry. If I said 200, it's 20.
Okay, take it back. Okay, thank you. The question at stake is that the $20 million, if even it's true, that money is people's money. It's people's contribution, private contribution. They contributed to build that party. I am not saying it is true, even if it is true. And it is on record. The general secretary of the party has put on record that the party head office is nowhere that $20 million they are saying. But for Mr. Fair to be saying it after, I think he has retracted saying it's not 200, it's 20. We'll move on. Number two.
How much is it, Paul? Can you tell us how much is it? That would be
Mr. Fair, this is not going to put food on the table for the
Okay.
What is going to put food on the good people on the table of the good people of Ghana is the questions you've tried to dodge and you continue to dodge. I am asking you, Mr. Ifa, that the COVID app that your minister Esla Owusu developed, she told us that it's going to cost the taxpayer 0 cedi, Ghana cedi. At the end of it, there is evidence and proof that they spent $2 million to develop this app. And Mr. Ifa, on record, to develop an app, you need less than $150,000 to develop an app. So I am telling you that this is what your government has done. Number two, when Ghana was in COVID last year, the monies that you got from World Bank, IMF, the Bank of Ghana, and other companies contribute, according to record, 12.4 billion Ghana cedi. In your own budget statement, 2021 budget statement, page 273, I'll give you the page, appendix 12A. The official record stated in there as money spent so far on COVID staff is 1.24 billion. What is the difference? The difference is almost 11 billion. What did you use the money for? Those are the things I want you to talk about. Number three, if my good friend Mr. Ifa is telling me that if he has a business and the business is having difficulties, and he can use 11 billion Ghana cedis to help those businesses to get back on their toes, and he decides to use 21 billion to collapse those businesses, I accept it. Let's move on. Now, let me talk about the Mali issue. Look, it's unfortunate that this thing is happening in Mali. Coup is something that all of us should speak against. I will never support any coup in any form, irrespective of whoever does the coup.
Right.
Democracy is the way to go.
Right.
Democracy is what we have agreed to. But to my disappointment, if I was making a statement that the leadership, the ministers and the leaders, they should be held accountable, they are incompetent, but forgetting and refusing to accept that Nana Addo is the leader of Ghana, Nana Addo is incompetent and he needs to be held responsible. You see, if I try to appropriate and misappropriate, he tried to put the blames on the ministers and try to take the president out. During President Mahamad's era, every issue that comes, Ifa will be number one person blaming President Mahama. Issue that concern public officers, not politicians, who Ifa will blame President Mahama and put the responsibility on the head of President Mahama. But now, Ifa is telling us that when there's issues in the education sector, we should hold the education minister responsible. If there's issue in the financial sector, we show the financial minister responsible. We hear you, we'll go by your logic. And thank you. And Mr. Abuzu, I will need a record of this show. I need a record I'll put down. Because I know and I believe in 2024, when government change, my good friend Mr. Ifa will come up and change his mouth. And that one, I'll play this record to him. Now, about the Mali issue, it's unfortunate that this is happening in Mali. You see, this should tell you that the Ecowas chairman, he lacked leadership credentials. Our president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is the Ecowas chairman, lacked leadership credentials, lacked leadership visions, lacked leadership direction, lacked leadership, vision. How can you support a coup in first instance, and then now you are trying to reprimand a person? The right thing that was supposed to be done, the first time this guy attempted to do or to make the coup, they should have condemned it to the highest level. But he, as the chairman of ECOWAS, encouraged it. They supported it. They fueled the guy with more gas. That's why the guy had the nerves to do a coup again for the second time.
Right.
As you said, the issues that is happening in Mali, okay, is not acceptable, is condemnable. But don't forget that we think it's happening only Mali. It is happening in Ghana. That is what we call culture of silence. That has been introduced in Ghana by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his Chief Justice. Now, when you suppress the people, you push the people down. People want to fight. People want to speak their mind. People want to demonstrate. Face the country people. Look at the way they are finding every means and way to frustrate them. This is what led to the coup, or this is what will lead to a coup. We are in a democracy, and I think President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is a champion of demonstration. If we are looking for a president or a leader who has led the highest demonstration in the history of Ghana, Nana Addo is number one. Today, he called himself the human rights president. He's sitting in power. He's suppressing freedom of speech. They are creating culture of silence in Ghana. They are not allowing people to speak their free mind. And they think Ghana is exempted from what is happening in Mali. Then we should revive our nose. That is what happened in Mali. People were suppressed. They prevented the citizens to speak their mind. That is why coup happened. I am not supporting coup. Coup is something that we should condemn. But for us to have a president who acknowledged coup at the first instant and the second instant turn around to condemn it, I mean, it should tell you how hypocritical our president is. Hypocrisy will not take us anywhere. Truth is what we need to speak. And Nana Addo should speak as a leader. He's not speaking as a leader. He's not showing leadership quality. For you to acknowledge the person when he did the coup the first time, you gave him that power. You have engineered him to do the second coup. I am saying, based upon this, I relate it to what is happening in Ghana. The culture of silence in Ghana is not far-fetched from what is happening in Mali. Today, look at what is happening to Dr. Yenini. When Dr. Yenini spoke about things, he spoke his mind about the Supreme Court case. He's been dragged to the General Legal Council by the Chief Justice. You, the Chief Justice, you were on air the day that you were giving your judgment at the Supreme Court. You described Dr. Kwesa White and Major Nudu as fantasy statement. You criticize people. When they criticize you, you are taking people, you are dragging people to the General Council, creating culture of silence. Nana Addo was in Cape Coast last week, creating the impression that he's the most vilified president ever. It is not true. Mahama has been vilified more than him, but Mahama never took anybody on. Right. As soon as Nana Addo, you take him on, his enemies, his Facebook army soldiers will come after you, insult you, attack you. And let's give credit to my good friend Ifa. He has not done that. He dodge the sensitive questions and trying to create an impression as if let's build Ghana. Mr. Ifa, I agree with you. Let's build Ghana. But before we build Ghana, Mr. Ifa, I want you guys to account for the money, the COVID money that is not accounted for. I want you to speak to that topic.
All right. So there's a comment here. Let me pick this comment very quickly, and then when we come back, we'll go to Efa so he can respond to all the things that you said. So Gabriel Kofi Sado Gaglosu, I'm sure he's from Ketu South. If it's Sado, I may have even know him. So Mr. Gabriel is saying leadership has failed us, including the current one. So of course he's alluding to some of the things that Paul, you are saying here, that this current leader is definitely not helping us. All right, so let me bring you in, Paul.
I said today, I give Mr. Fa 1+. Because he has not been over too mischievous. He's been a little mischievous, but not too much. He's doing good today. He's doing good today.
He will say he will fear some. So, of course, we also have Mr. Lawrence Appiah says thumbs up for my boss, Disosu. So Disosu, you're getting a lot of thumbs up right now because I think your people think you're doing good, and I of course, I think you're doing good as well. So, this Paul has said a lot. He's saying that he wants me to address a specific issue about COVID.
He wants me to address the issue about the COVID
expenditure, but I do want you to give me your take on the Mali issue. There are terrorists devastating Mali. It is spilling over to other West African countries, and the chances are we may even get some of that in our backyard if we are not careful. So there should be strategic plan sort of that kind of deals with this issue, and I feel like it should be done where whoever, and even though we don't all appreciate coup, the guy who, it appears when he did the first coup, we were the ones who told him, put a civilian in charge, but you are good to be the vice president. And he was the vice president, but you could see the guy who did the coup is sitting there, is the one who is powerful, the ministry respects him, they don't respect the current president. Meanwhile, whenever he wants to do something, he has to go through the current president. So he decided again that, look, you are not part of this original plan, and you have to go. And he overthrew him again. Now all of a sudden, we are letting him, we are banning him from Ecowas. What sense does that make? And, why should they even be gathering in Accra, flying all these other presidents from West Africa? Why wouldn't they just get on a Zoom call? Why do they just like wasting our money? Meanwhile, they'll go to France, gather in front of Macron and beg for Macron to, forgive them debt.
Yeah, very good. And Paul, you were going round. Okay, so when he came to Accra, right, last year, right? You remember he went to visit Rawlings, right?
Who?
Right?
Who?
Oh,
Okay.
you're talking about the guy, yeah.
Rawlings in 1979 made a coup, brought Liman, and then 71 overthrew Liman and took over, right?
Yes.
Is there something similar with this guy?
We've moved forward.
Exactly. Exactly.
We've moved forward. So stop talking about this.
You know me, right? You know me. When you try to corner and make political issues out of what we should be addressing and try to bring in all these fears of and try to, I can also go on the same tangent. When he came to Ghana, we didn't know the discussion he had with Rawlings, and we went there, blah blah blah, and then a week about whatever, he has done another coup, a similar incident. Do we put it together and say Rawlings advised him to do that? So let us address the issues and then we move on. It is significant. Now, what you are saying is very, very important.
We can see that coming, right? I mean, imagine even Rawlings, when he did his first coup, and we had Liman in charge, and then, of course, hand over to Liman.
You see, the truth of the matter is this. The truth of the matter is ECOWAS is not strong enough to really muscle its power over individual nations. We have to advise. AU is not strong enough to muscle its power over African nations.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fact, and we need to continue to speak to these institutions
But before you go on that tangent, ECOWAS and the Rawlings was able to deal with the Liberian issue, which was even more dire.
Okay, has the Liberian issue solved?
It's been solved. Democracy now.
The whole thing is, you see, when we talk of institutions, when I was talking about these institutions, you misinterpret it to mean personality. When we talk about institutions, and the institution is that when Fred was there, he was handling the program well. So it's like when he went, another person came, and then you have not established a show called the Ghana Agenda. You haven't established a show. You have established something that belongs to Alfred called Ghana Agenda, and that when Alfred is not there, it's not going to function. Anything you establish on that tangent is nothing to talk about. You don't have anything because the person will die and go. Nations don't die, institutions don't die unless you don't put in place the structures to absorb all these things that will come. And I am saying that ECOWAS cannot muscle its power too much on any nation, no matter what. And individual nations, when there's a coup, right? When there's a coup, you can only try to see how you can, talk to this. You can talk to the coup maker to, kind of try to bring in democratic stuff and then, turn over to the civilian.
Right.
And if we say that, I don't think that he being sanctioned by being suspended from ECOWAS, it is not the same as they have neglected the ECOWAS issue, because you see what is happening in the Sahel region, the terrorist activities going on there, all these different tribes, and all these once in a while this and that, and all these little forces that are marshalling up. You cannot take your eye off that. And I think the West African nation is very much aware of that. Ghana is very much aware of that.
Why then ban the country from ECOWAS? Shouldn't you rather be, keeping them in ECOWAS and helping them deal with the issue? You are telling them, it's like your daughter is misbehaving and you are banned from the family instead of, bringing her closer and advising her and working with her.
Right. The ban is not in isolation, that they will not see to other stuff, right? And some of these ban is time bound and stuff like that. And we don't really know what went into why they made that particular decision. But I will agree with you that there should be more restrictions. I think there should be timetable and all these kind of stuff. Some of these military people can just sit down. At the end of the day, it is not even the people that are the helm of affairs that are affected, right? It is the ordinary people, and Mali has been suffering for far too long. So we will call on the ECOWAS to do more. We will call on AU to do more as far as sanction and pushing this guy to bring in this thing. It's very important. Now, I agree with Paul on the way leaders handle their country, but the way he's linking it to Akufo-Addo and culture of silence, that is not true. There is nothing like culture of silence in Ghana. There is nothing like intimidation in Ghana, right? The president said, when you make a comment about me, I have equal right to respond. And any journalist that have a problem that Kakape is a journalist, he has made a comment about Mahama, and that NDC and Mahama people cannot respond if it is lies and it is character assassination. Hell no. And in recent time, I have seen you have said something. The General Legal Council, somebody thinks that it is against the practice as a lawyer. Take you to the General Legal Council and you call it what? And you call it culture of silence. What? We are in the United States and Facebook has banned the whole former president of America. Is that culture of silence? Is that culture of silence? He's being indisciplined. He's using the platform for what they think is not good.
Facebook is a private institution. In Ghana, once the case is over, even as a lawyer, you are allowed to,
okay.
The case is over.
And the guy is in America, right? If you say Facebook is a private institution, and it's an avenue where people express themselves, and the whole former American president, his account has been taken off. If it were in Ghana, what would people have said? Right? That the president knows something about it, right? That he's stifling, blah, 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 decent and all that kind of stuff. That is the thing I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Okay, so the General Legal Council is one. There are people that have Sami Jamfi has been taken to court and he's begging. Well, why are you begging? You go and stand on radio and say somebody says something about Bumpty using the Falcon. He's been taken to court. Go and answer those things. You cannot verify. You can't verify somebody and go away. You cannot go and say Mahama has properties in Dubai. And then when Mahama takes you to court, then you come and say Mahama is stifling media freedom.
But you said that, you said it a lot of times. You said that Mahama had properties in Dubai. You've said that before. I've heard you saying that before. That Mahama has properties in Dubai. You yourself, you said it before. On our
listen. So let's do this. I know our time is
if I say something, right, I will give you that I will give you the source of my statement, right?
Right.
So you don't see me, you go and see that person because it's all over the place. It's in the news.
Okay.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that
I know our time is fast spent. I'm bringing another person to join us. It's going to be Mr. Fogan Nukunu, who actually contested for parliamentary seat in the Ketu South. He's going to help us actually discuss the Tidal wave issue in Ketu South. But let's take a quick break. When we get back, I know there are some rebuttals out there, but let's get back from our break and we can talk about this Tidal wave issue.
Today, if I is behaving, so I'll not rebut on this issue. I just let it go.
You have not behaved today, Papa.
Just to say that,
whichever pastor prayed for you last week, tomorrow go there again. You have behaved, Papa.
Just to say that he has still run away from the sensitive question. He has refused to answer the correct app. The money I've spoken about, the 12.4 billion that their own budget is saying they've used only 1.24. He has refused to answer those questions. And I will speak to those questions, please.
I'm sure you will answer that when we get back. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah, baby, aka yeah, Bantam. And me the fill up bows in pan and to see one bridge with the money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions as I such credit Emma Ebusia phone and the form one Ghana and one so backo www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection www.ghanamat.com. Let's show provisions in the credit. Na really I have friend numbers na screen Ghana Mat ye crown.
All right, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Alfred Amuzu. We'll be talking about all kinds of issues. We started with, the census that we are going to be going through this year, which is getting ready to start on 27th of June, where we will be counting, all our people living in Ghana. And we need this data in order to kind of base our development agenda on where resources will be allocated, how much of it should be allocated, etc., etc. This is very vital. And we've been doing this. This is, I think, the 7th time we'll be doing this. We started in 1960, and it gets done every 10 years. We were supposed to do one in 2020, but of course, COVID was not very kind to us. And so we postponed that to 2021, and we are getting ready to do it now. We know it's going to cost us $521 million, and the argument is that is so exorbitant. Can we find another way to do it cheaper? And so I was asking my guests, and depending on who you ask, everybody have different opinions. We've also talked about the president flying on chartered flights, very expensive one, top of the class, which we thought perhaps it's a bit insensitive considering the times. If the economy is good, everything is well, and the country is booming, of course, the president can travel on whatever plane, and we wouldn't have a problem with that. But at the same time, that he's increasing taxes and asking people to tighten their belts. It felt a little insensitive for him to do so. And then we just finished talking about Mali, where terrorists or organizations affiliated with Al-Qaeda and jihadist groups are active in Mali and are destabilizing the government, and some of that is spilling over to neighboring countries, including Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast. And the concern is that the littoral countries around Mali and Burkina Faso may also soon be seeing some spillovers. At the same time, the government in Mali has been so destabilized to the extent that in a span of 9 months, we've already witnessed 2 coups d'etats. And we thought at that very moment is when perhaps Ecowas should be bringing them a little closer, getting to understand or getting more involved in the issues of Mali so that the fight with the jihadists is contained and that they find solution to their governance issues. But instead, Ecowas has suspended Mali until 2022. And I don't know what went into that decision, but just on the surface, I think it's kind of, I don't know. It's not. It doesn't place well, or it shouldn't be. It's not strategic enough. Now we want to switch over to Ketu South, and I have a video I'm going to play, and this video is going to show something that has been happening. The coastal line of Ketu South. Matter of fact, this happens in majority of the coastal areas in Ghana. I know Azim has suffered the same problem, and the president's on his campaign tour in 2016 was told about the issue of Azim, and he went there and constructed a sea defense for them. I know Kita. I came from Keji. The whole town of Keji was wiped out by this tidal, issues. And after the wiping out of the whole city, the whole town, history, people have to move out of there. They decided to, build the sea defense during the Kufuor administration. It was something that was actually agreed upon, I think, during the NDC and the Rawlings administration. But Kufuor continued and built the sea defense, but it only got to a certain point. There is other phases of that project which has been lingering till now. There is supposed to be Blakusu phase 1, phase 2. The current president actually started working on the phase 1 of Blakusu at some point, and then the Minister of Finance stopped funding that project. And at this point, the issue has gotten worse. Lives have been destroyed. And, so I'm going to play this video just to kind of give you a quick highlight, and then let's see what my guest will say. But while I'm loading the video up, this definitely hits home for me. And I have invited someone from the district to help us with the conversation. In person of Foga Nukunu, who joined but briefly dropped off because of connection issues. Come back, we'll continue the conversation.
President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the people of Ketu South and I need you to respond immediately, urgently, to the tidal wave that is causing so much destruction in our community. Your Excellency, in 10 meters or so, the electricity, the water, and the road will be cut off from the coastal communities. I dare say that if we address it now, we will be saving this country some cost because we won't have to do the road again. Already, the town roads are nothing to write home about. The only road that connects Aflau to Kata is about to be lost because the sea is ravaging. The sea is destroying everything in its path.
In 2017, the president has ordered the finance to release money for Amandi Holdings to come and continue and finish that project somewhere in 2019. And it was in that same year, 2019, that we have begun the extension project. We call it Blakusu Phase 2. That has gone far up to finance level for approval. However, it has some bottlenecks at the ministry. And so after election 2020 and now 2021, we have commenced a new process again. Apparently, the sea continues to destroy. That is the truth. Displace people and also to destroy property. That is the bad truth. And I know my people are suffering. Because of that, we have also commenced a new process which have seen the hydrological service being sent to this place from the Ministry of Works and Housing. They came and had a meeting with the community and also assessed the situation themselves. And so they went back, and now I've got a reply through my regional minister, who have also been working hard, and currently who is also in Accra on the same project issue from the Works and Housing, assuring me that my sea defense project that is a priority for them, and they are seeking approval from finance so they can engage a contractor to come to site. Yes.
All right, so we just listened to the member of parliament for the area, which is Her Excellence, not Her Excellence, the Honorable Abla. Is he Abla? Jifa Gomashi, Honorable Jifa Gomashi, standing there by the podium with Roxanne Daflamakbo. And you know, she was just kind of giving you an overview, saying that, you know, she wanted the president to come to their aid, that this is a serious issue. This has been there for years, and you know, whole community, whole group of people, including cultural experiences and businesses, are being washed away, and it could be saved, you know, just by you know, putting some rocks in the water, just like they've done in Asim and other places where same or similar issues occur in our country, or even just in the neighboring Kita, where, you know, they've put rocks in the water, and of course, and that's kind of stopped the sea from, you know, destroying properties further. And then also we have from the district chief executive, and he was saying, you know, that's you know, the project was something that, you know, when the president came to power, he started the Blakusu Phase 1, did some work on it, and then he faced some bottlenecks in the Ministry of Finance, and so funds weren't getting released further. You know, that issue was, you know, revisited in 2019 or so. And even after the election now, they are trying again to see if, you know, some funds could be released for this project, because within a matter of weeks, you know, a whole community can be wiped out. I've been a victim of that, so I know. Now, I know, okay, let me actually start with Paul on this one. Paul, I don't know. At the backdrop of what we've just discussed today, you know, the flights to Europe, even the money involved in that flight alone can do a coastal defense line. And when it comes to the issue of voter regime, of course, people are quick to say you are being tribalistic or whatever. But I don't know, for whatever reason, this issue has been ignored for so long, and it's been over administrations. The NDC was there. So when Jifa is even talking, I'm disappointed in Jifa, because when Jifa was there and when the government of the NDC was in power, that issue was there. It's not like a new issue. It's not like something that just cropped up yesterday. This has been with that community since the 1980s. And this is the community that cast the most votes for the NDC. So for you to be in opposition and be crying, it's like, look, you knew this. You could have done something about it, but you didn't. But be that as it may, right? Is it again, where we are trying to tell Mali, hey, by the way, you are banned from Ecowas. By the way, we are flying to go to Europe and spending all this money. We're about to spend $550 million to do census, and we have a community being wiped out by sea. Is this being fair? Should these people be angry? Shouldn't we all be outraged by this?
Well, thank you. Already, I agree that, this issue has not been an issue that happened for the past 5 years. It's been an issue that has been there for some years now. And then the former administration tried to do something about it, but they couldn't finish with it. They couldn't get to where they are supposed to get to. They left it halfway. And governance is a continuous process. So therefore, if the Mahama government could not finish with it and then they left it behind, we expect the Akufo-Addo government to continue and take it and finish with it. But the Akufo-Addo government has not been able to also do anything about it until now. I'm saying.
Oh, I think we lost.
Sorry, I think sorry. I'm saying, I mean, we can do better. Ghana can do better, especially at the time whereby we have people struggling, people suffering.
Right.
And one president will sit up, take this huge amount of money, sleeping in the air, bathing in the air with it. That money could be channeled to help the people of the Volta region. I don't want to be tribalistic over here.
Right.
It's not because they say we are not Ghanaians, we are not part of Ghana. That's why we are being treated like this. But I am saying, and I'm being very fair over here, this issue has dragged for a long time.
Right.
The NDC government in power started something, but they could not do much. The NPP government came to power, they've given series of promise, nothing has been done. To the level that they've even appointed a minister for Harbour in the Volta region. What is the job of that minister?
Right.
Or that public official? What is his job? It's not a minister, it's a CEO. What is his job?
Right.
What has he done? What report has he put in out there? We'll plead to those people that Ghana belongs to. Because they say some of us, we are not Ghanaian. We'll plead to those that Ghana belongs to, that they should come to our aid. That's all I was saying.
All right, thank you so much on that, Mr. Fa. Of course, this thing span over across government. We know Kufuor also did some work in that area, but it has been too long. This is easy fix. Just put rocks in the water and let's move. What do you have to say about that? Do you think the Volta region people should be outraged about this situation? I think we just lost Fa quickly, but hopefully he can join again and give us his thoughts on this one. But if you're listening, this is the Ghana Agenda, and we've been talking about, the tidal waves issues in Ketu South, and I have Fa back. Fa, so yeah, if you're listening, just go ahead and let's close on this last topic.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And except for the political and tribal aspect of what Paul said, I agree with everything that he said. And you see, if we see, when we see a problem and we want to solve it, you should take this tribal personal stuff, because it's been there for a long time, and when we get the opportunity to speak to it, we have to speak to it. You see, when we see a problem coming and we wait, and then we are waiting with the NADMO, with the relief items from that, I mean, we have to go beyond that. Ketu issue has been there. In fact, the coastal problem, the coastal erosion has been a problem over and over again. We've talked about it. There was the Ketu Sea Defense War. This Sea Defense War went up to a certain level. And we know that this is something that should continue and arrest this problem once and for all. I don't think we are incapable of doing this. We are capable of doing this.
Right.
So as now, the situation is getting into a point where people are going to be displaced and all that kind of stuff. It is time for, we know last year things happened, yes. But around this time, we have to begin to go on the table and begin to talk. Now, this is what I'm going to say. The people of the Volta region, where this thing is happening, have a consistent, people that are going to speak to the issue, see the chiefs, go to government, the district assembly, and keep talking, and try to also work. Don't politicize it. Have a bipartisan, whatever, go and see whoever you can see. Have the MP, the assembly, and all this. They are powerful. FUAF is there. The other chiefs are all there. Come together and continue to hammer on the issue until it is resolved. This is our attitude that we wait till something comes and we want to come. We talk about it. I mean, give us a week, and then this thing we've forgotten. We are only waiting for another person to be affected. But everybody in Ghana is part of it. The fact that it's happening here, you don't care. But next time it may be something else at your other end. You would expect somebody who would mount the platform that has a voice to speak on your issue. So the issue that is happening in Ketu South right now, it is our issue as a country. We can develop, you see, and those of us that have done a little about tourism, Volta region has a huge tourist potential. And this is one of the places we can develop the tourist attraction and make money out of it. We sit down there, a Chinese is going to look at the potential, come and buy the land, and then we go cry, hey, the Chinese is taking our destiny. But meanwhile, there's a huge money in out there. And then the point will tell you don't smell money. And when somebody is smelling money, it's going to be an issue. But what I'm saying is that this is human issue. These are human beings over there that are at stake. Let us take politics and tribal issues out of that. The people should come, continue to talk to government, and make sure the problem is solved. People at the district assembly, people in parliament, they should continue to raise it. You know, ask Ministry of What, whoever is in there, the Minister of Finance. We shouldn't just do it a one day thing. We act and we go and sleep. No, we should have a consistent, sustained fight to make sure it is taken care of. Because we go and come, we patch it. It is like a wound. We don't do what it takes to heal it. We patch it and we go. But what I'm going to advise government to is that this is a huge tourism potential avenue for us to make money.
Right.
So let's explore it and use it for that. That's what I'm going to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My understanding is that we have private investors willing to help, and you know, because it appears there's no budget provision for this year or so. So there are financiers who are willing to put their money together and actually do it, and just have the government reimburse them at appropriate time. So we hope something change on that quickly. Akwesi B. Nimo, who's one of our hosts, he hosts a sports program on Apple Radio. Please catch him, he's one of the best. The show comes on tomorrow. He says, great show, and we are grateful for him watching. So, please share and let your friends watch as well. So let me start with Paul. Paul, if you can give us your closing thoughts. Today's been a great program. I've enjoyed all the discussions, and I think every good thing at some point has to come to an end. And so let's bring this one to an end, and we will do that by taking your closing words first.
Well, for me, I'm going to close by saying that Ghana is for all of us.
Right.
Let's build Ghana. Let's support any way. Just that the army soldiers, the MPP army soldiers that have been spread on Facebook, who are insulting people left and right, if you come and say the truth, they should just put themselves in the situation of the people who are suffering. Ghana belongs to all of us. It is a mandate for me, myself, you, for us to speak truth to power, irrespective of who the president is. Until we do that, we will not move Ghana, or Ghana will not be developed like the way we are, or the way we enjoy the life in the US. We want Ghana to become like the US so that we can all go back to our motherland. In saying so, I'll end by saying Mr. Fa has intentionally, strategically, consciously, and then mischievously tried to run away from all the questions I've posed to you. I'll let you go today. I'll not talk about it. I'll let you go today. I just say, and I pray that if his wife is listening to him, the wife should not give him food to eat today, because he's been very mischievous, not being truthful by answering my questions. He's been dodging my questions. So I'll just appeal to the wife not to give him dinner this evening. That's all I want.
All right. So we got a guy from Ketu South who was gonna give us some quick insights on what is going on. So Foga, over to you. Foga, we know, this coastal thing has been a problem for a while. Successive government did some little bit of work on it here and there. But give us an update on what is going on. What do you know in terms of relocating the people who are impacted, etc., etc.? Tell us a little bit, give us some insight so that my viewers can appreciate the issues.
Thank you very much. For the past 2 weeks or so.
Yeah. Oh man, his network is bad.
The Ghana internet very slow, man.
Yeah, the internet is kind of bad over there. Okay, so for Ghana, I think you are off. But okay, Kape, so let's take your last word as well. If Oga come, I'll just get him to address it.
Right, and if Kuga is listening, what I need them to do is to have, a bipartisan, consistent approach to this issue. Don't politicize it. Don't go and accuse anybody. Just consistent, engage the government. Have a working formula. Go there. What is it that we can do? How much can we get? Can we appeal to some? They can even form a committee and start appealing to citizens for some donations for them to fix this problem. And they can also use whatever, if there's nothing coming from central government, they can use relief agencies and, appeal to Siena, for instance, to have as one of their, to whatever it is, to have a consistent approach towards solving this problem. Sometimes we must stretch ourselves and not just look at one sources of this thing. Yeah, today has been a great show.
Yes, sir.
Paul has really surprised me. It's reforming. It is good for our development. Yeah, let us not punch. Let's punch the issues, and let us speak to our leaders to do things. I'm not going to sit here and say MPP is an angel, but point out the issue. We are going to support, and we are going to appeal to the government that let us fix it. But in so doing, don't wait for a disaster. If you look at the case of Mali, people were using social media to call for the president was so bad, and then a coup came. And then we are here. Another problem has generated. So when you are approaching a problem, we have to know that so the solution we're prescribing, is that really going to solve our problem? But other than that, we've had a very fruitful discussion. I want to thank the listeners and viewers and all the people that have made this a success. I've always told you that you are a great guy. Continue to be great. Behind the scene, I'll tell you any criticism that I have, but we've done it. And what I'm going to say is that we don't always get it right. I'm always going to admit that we are human. One of the things I'm learning about life is that if you don't accept your fault, you are not going to be better. Because if you look at Mercedes-Benz in the 1800s, it is not the same Mercedes-Benz right now. If you look at Rolls-Royce and all that, they've improved over time because they took review and criticism. And the same goes for our leaders. When people are venting on social media and stuff like that, look at the context of what they are issuing. In as much as we're telling people to take their insult out, look at also the content. People have issues with environmental, people have issues with education, health, and all that. Let the leaders sit down and genuinely say, okay, within this time, we can address these issues and that issue. Be truthful and say, as for this one, even though I promise, I may not be able to do it. And the people are going to sympathize with you. Let us not fight with the people that give us the mandate, because it is renewable, and they're going to come, and we're going to come to them. But come 2024, we're going to break the age. Thank you very much. And God bless you.
Thank you so much. That has been Efa Amayao, the Deputy Communications. Is it chairperson?
No, Deputy Communication Director. Chairperson. Yeah, Madam Obaya Frimpong. She's listening.
Right. Thank you so much.
And my director is in Ghana. Salute. And my boss, Nana Osafo in Chicago. I salute. Steve, I'll give you a call. And God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thanks for sharing all those great insights and canvassing your position. We really appreciate it. Johnny Woods here says, great discussion and great show. Thank you, Johnny, for always supporting us. And he also came back again to say, hi, Kakape. So, Kakape, your fans are here. They love you, and we really appreciate it. Paul is trying to say something here. Paul? Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Muzu, ask Kakape that the money that he didn't accounted for, is it that he got some of the money, that's why he couldn't account for it, or what? Next week, he should get himself anything for the money.
For more information and response, but Paul, I can assure you, they are preparing Banku and fertility today. The way I will eat this fertility after my appeal, I wish you were here to see.
Thank you. Enjoy your fertility, and hope to see you again next week. Thanks, Paul, and hope to see you all next week. And I really appreciate it. This has been a Ghana Agenda for today. We are grateful for what you're watching. We know, even though we're discussing these Ecowas issues, that as we speak, Nigeria is under Twitter blackout. and we are, in solidarity with our Nigerians. We don't think, the government should be suppressing press, but that's the ban on Twitter will be lifted in Nigeria as soon as possible, so that the Nigerians can have the opportunity to express their view and disagree with their government as they want. Again, this is the Ghana Agenda. And thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, let's try to get some insurance for those of you living in Chicago and even in the rest of the United States. We'll be back next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.